everybody. I'm glad I was able to do another live stream today, and we actually have 3 excellent stories with visuals. Oh, it's going to be such a treat. Thank you for joining me, Andrew. I'm glad you were able to make today's live stream. The way this works, just as a reminder, we're going to have the 3 stories of the day. Please try to keep your comments and super chats to the topic at hand, or else I might not answer it. Thanks, Brad. I'm glad you guys like when I have my glasses and my hair up. Makes me feel good because I worry about it sometimes. But anyway, thank you. So try to keep the comments on point. And then at the end of the video, don't worry about it, because at the end of the live stream for the final 10 minutes, you can ask me anything that you would like. That is the time to ask me random questions. And I will also, you can ask me while we're talking, but at the end of each section, I'll open it up to questions about that specific topic. But we've got some good ones. We've got some really good topics to discuss today. I also reacted to the Shazam 2 trailer. If it had dropped yesterday, I might have broken it down. There's so little interest in it. It's shocking, because usually DC at least did pretty well with the interest in their trailers. But I told you I suspect the bottom's just going to totally fall out. Maybe not for Flash, because it'll be the first trailer for it during the Super Bowl. But it's very interesting. Hey, Boyab. And if you join during a live stream, I'll give you a shout out as soon as you join. Carter, live streams are usually about an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes. It depends how much fun we have. But usually that's about how long they run. They can run a little longer sometimes, but I have to be out of here at around 5:15. So this one's going to be about an hour. All right. Hey, Con. Oh, you reminded me. Great, Con. BTT Movie Club has a watch-along tomorrow night for the movie from the director of Megan that put him on the map. And then, of course, everyone can do Wednesday's watch-along for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, although only members will be able to comment. But anyone can watch along with their own copy of the film, and it will be available not only on digital, but, of course, on Disney+. Trisha, I'm so sorry you have COVID again. I hope you feel better soon. All right, everybody, you guys are so great. Let's get started. All right, as I told you, I got visuals. Story number 1. Boop. Oh, I have to fix where that is located. So anyway, I think I'll have to do it later. All right, so yes, as it was announced last night, Doom Patrol and Titans have been canceled. They just wrapped up their season 4s, and they will not return. So I hope they didn't end on a cliffhanger for anyone who is still watching. Hey, Miguel. It's funny because, of course, these shows were created for DC Universe to get people to subscribe to that service. And then they were eventually moved over to HBO Max. The only really surviving one is Harley Quinn, which I love. And I got to watch the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special the other day, and I'm under embargo. I can't even tweet about it until I think February 6th. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to do a review the day it releases, February 9th. And it's going to be half a non-spoiler review and then the second half spoilers. I will say, I think it might be NC-17. Hey, Christoph Welsh. I was surprised. All right, so anyway. Harley Quinn, of course, is winning awards. It was Best Animated Series at Critics' Choice. I voted for it. And it's a very, very strong show. So I'm very glad that it's sticking around. But so far, it's the only one still there. And the only one that James Gunn has appeared on as a guest star. It's so transparent. All right, let's bring these 2 guys in. All right, there they are. The faces of DC. One we never hear from, and the other has no accountability. Hilarious, because James Gunn was like, don't get angry with me. They decided to do this before we were brought on. And I had a friend of mine actually point out and be like, I can't believe everyone just is okay with that excuse, because, if these guys wanted to, they could say, no, we're not canceling. Again, if they were doing a complete reboot, well then, yeah, it would be awesome. They'd be like, and I think nobody would be angry with them, because everybody agrees that they need to just completely reboot everything and just completely wipe the slate clean. But as I've said before, as I said today, and as I said I shall continue to say, if they keep one person, just one, and her name has to do with the country of Holland, James Gunn's wife, if they keep just one person, the whole thing's done. So I think that, also Zachary Levi, as we were talking about today. So I think it's like a tough spot. So like so he could have kept Doom Patrol and Titans. So I think that it's not fair to try and sidestep accountability by saying that they didn't make the decision. But but then you gave it the seal of approval. Some of you asked me if I thought that Superman and Lois might get canceled or Gotham Knights would get canceled. I can't believe Gotham Knights is even going on the air in the first place. How did they not stop that from ever seeing the light of day? I mean, how powerful is James Gunn over there? I wonder. I mean, I certainly would have used my abilities to kill that. I'd be like, let's just pretend it never happened. And then as for Superman and Lois, again, this stuff's all got to go. And even James Gunn, some of you have sent me some of his former tweets where he agreed that having multiple versions of the same character at the same time divides the fan base. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining. Divides the fan base and keeps everybody from being on the same page rooting for the same version of the character. So, I don't know. As I've said before, live by the tweet, die by the tweet. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he said he would announce in January. Will he go all the way up to January 31st? That is his right to do so. But, he's got to get in here and give people something else to focus on. Hey, the Foreign Fool. That's a funny name. Hey, Reese Reed. Now, on that note, DC fans are I think what's difficult, and, James Gunn also, again, loves Twitter. But Twitter is not a real space. Hey, Stephen Carrier. Whelm says this shouldn't be so difficult. Everyone goes, everything is rebooted. I agree. I honestly agree with you. But, James Gunn, I think, spends a lot of time on Twitter, as we all know. But I think at the end of the day, DC's very strong and vocal Twitter base never shows up. They don't watch these shows. They don't pay to see them in theaters. And that's why that stuff gets canceled. And why Warner Brothers is having some difficulty. I mean, I still think Twitter is a very powerful tool, but I don't think it should be a driving force with which one makes their decisions. Because that's the thing. That's why I tweeted that yesterday. I was a little frustrating to see Doom Patrol trending so high. And it's like, you guys never made it trend when it aired. Where were you? Where were you? This reminds me of a really great Robert Redford story. And I've been looking for an excuse to tell it to you. So here it is. So there's a famous Robert Redford story. And Robert Redford was at the peak of his career. Not the one today about him and Barbra Streisand. But Robert Redford was at the peak of his career. And he was giving an interview. And all these women were outside the restaurant just screaming their lungs out. And they couldn't even conduct the interview. It was crazy. So finally, Robert Redford gets up, calmly walks to the window, and he says very calmly and nicely, "Where were you when I needed you?" And that story has always stuck with me. I thought that was a really interesting way to do it, and a very interesting perspective. It also gave you a little bit of insight into what Robert Redford's life was like pre-fame, right? So I think it's a similar situation. I think that at some point, the people who run DC have to be like, where are you? Why don't you show up? I mean, they work so hard to not get negative tweets, but yet it means absolutely nothing. How many times are they going to keep falling for it? It's like Charlie Brown in the football. Hey, Ninth Johnny. Rhett says Bretton Thwaites was the only good casting from Titans. I did think he was pretty good. So let's talk about these shows. I thought that they started out actually surprisingly strong, particularly Doom Patrol. But I mean, Timothy Dalton doesn't even want to be on that show anymore. He's like, see ya. And I think Doom Patrol got too weird, and I think Titans got too CWE. Like, it came to the point on the last season 3 was the last one I watched, and I was like, I only watched the first few episodes, because I was like, what am I watching? And I felt gross and disgusting, and I turned it off. I was like, that's not who I want to be as a DC fan. Hey, Kevin Cisneros, thank you for upgrading. So I think that was really problematic. I like the cast, and I agree that, hey, Frosty Salt, and I agree that Bretton Thwaites made a pretty darn good Nightwing, actually. I loved seeing him with his Eskrima sticks. He was like, foo, 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 foo. And I was like, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. But, he's not movie level. I mean, you would watch him, and you'd be like, he's never going to move up to the movies, because he simply can't. Because he's just not that caliber of an actor. That's the thing. I think DC has a penchant for doing fan casting. And I think that that's really bad. I mean, I was really against Joe Manganiello joining the DC universe back in the day as Deathstroke. I was like, not a fan. And I'm glad that never actually materialized, really. I mean, it did like in the Snyder Cut, I think. But I was like, what kind of movie do you want to be if that's who's in your movie? Steven says, I honestly love Titans. It was a good mix of CW and HBO. I mean, I think when it started out, it was like that. But then, although I was living for the Superboy and what was it, Starfire's sister romance, I was like, I like this couple. I like it a lot. But, the rest of the show is just so bad I couldn't continue to watch it. It's so horrible. Even with the idea that I like Superboy being half Lex Luthor, half Superman, but I just still couldn't even go back. I was like, I just can't do it. Kevin says, I love Titans and Doom Patrol. I think Doom Patrol is better than most MCU shows, and I hope James Gunn does these characters just. I don't think he's going to do anything with them, quite frankly. I hope that he starts small. Whelm says, I gave up on Titans after they defeated Trigon in the first episode of season 2. Yeah, and Trigon just wore a suit. He was just a dude in a suit. He's like, how do you like my human form? And you're like, I do not care for it, because I know you're just doing it to save money. That's right, Rhett. Brenton Thwaites was in Pirates of the Caribbean 5. He's had a pretty decent career, but he's not a movie. I mean, I don't think he's just not a movie level actor, especially when you could hire Zac Efron, who would have been a fabulous Nightwing. Now, another reason I think they got rid of Titans is that Titans is about to move up in a big way. All right. So if you read the comics, I still do. That's right. I'm a glutton for punishment because, in most cases they aren't particularly good. Ollie says both shows haven't released the last episodes and apparently they end conclusively. I didn't like either show, but at least they won't have cliffhangers. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad. That's horrible when they do that to fans. It must have killed the writers to have to be like, this is pretty much the end. So anyway, Tom Taylor. That's right, Tari. Tom Taylor writes the comics. I have mixed feelings on Tom Taylor. So let's bring up some of his comics here. So so this is that cover, that thing on the left with the Titans with Raven in the background. That is the cover of the new Titans ongoing series. That has Tom Taylor writing. It was just announced the other day. All these DC comic book talent was like, big announcement tomorrow. And I had people sending me their tweets being like, Grace, is this the James Gunn announcement? And I'm like, no, it's comic book people. So it's comic book related announcements. And so they should know better than that to get people's hopes up. They have to realize they're in the same space. So Tom Taylor's writing this new Titans book with Nicola Scott as the artist. I'm a big fan of Nicola Scott's artwork. And then that's the panel from the end of the recent Nightwing comic, the 100th issue, I think it was. And the Titans have taken over for the Justice League, which I don't think is a good idea. But they have done it. They're converting a prison to the new Titans Tower. Because, here's the thing. Tom Taylor is very forward-thinking as a creator. And I think that's wonderful. But the problem is that all of his stuff seems the same. His Nightwing seems the same as his Jonathan Kent Superman comics. And they seem like the same as when he took over Suicide Squad for a brief time. So I really liked all those stories, to be honest with you. But they're all kind of the same. He has absolutely no variation. And I think that he really benefits from amazing artwork. Nicola Scott on the left, and on the right is, let me see, I wrote it down here, Bruno Redondo. Dan Mora is also another great comic book artist that DC scooped up, which was a great thing. So anyway, the Titans is now going to be the premier DC team. And I think that's as bad an idea as having the Young Avengers take over for the Avengers in the MCU. I'm like, you guys are going to regret this big time. Nobody wants to see baby superheroes. They do this again and again and again, and it's infuriating. That's right, Tari. Tari, you know your comics. I'm impressed. Hey, thank you, William. I like the popcorn emoji there. Dan Mora, I don't know if you've ever read his King Arthur comic with Kieran Gillen. It's like a modern King Arthur story, and that's where he got his start. And it's actually a pretty good comic as well, although it just ended, and I liked it. I thought it was good. It never really went anywhere, but I still enjoyed it anyway. Kevin Cisneros says, saw some concept art of Brenton Thwaites as Cyclops and Anna Jope as Storm. Oh, that's pretty good, but they're just not the level that they need to be for that stuff, I'm afraid. I know a lot of people like to say there's no such thing as movie stars, but there are calibers of actors. It will be okay, says, I hope they stop trying to make Cyborg happen. I don't know. Oh, no, I like Cyborg. And although I do agree, Cyborg is a Titan. John Stewart should be on the Justice League, and they should bring in John Stewart Green Lantern. Thank you, Mark. So anyway, I think, Dancing Dog 60. Every stream almost gifts 5 memberships. That's just so kind of you. That's so kind of you. Thank you. So I think that they wanted to make sure that Titans was getting good treatment, and you can't have the premier team. Maybe James Gunn is going to announce a Titans movie. maybe, I wonder like who his Superman is. Is his Superman going to be Jonathan Kent? He would actually be a much better choice for Jonathan Kent, now that I think of it. I hope he announces soon. He's got to do it by the 31st, because he said he would. But yeah, so I think the Titans is an okay team. I think getting rid of the Justice League is a stupid idea. And I think that DC Comics has absolutely no direction. DC Comics is in bad shape right now, but at least I'm reading them. I'm not even reading Marvel Comics for the most part right now. If you super follow me on Twitter, I put out my stack every week. But I do at least still read DC Comics, and I feel that, but I feel like they're not good enough to base any movies or TV off of, and I think that's a real problem. Kevin Cisneros says Raven needs to be treated like Jean Grey next time. But, we already saw this story. Do we want to do it again? And hey, Darren Knight, welcome back. So let's see. I agree, Mika. Ian Glenn is Batman. Everybody saw him and was like, hey, Alfred. And they're like, no, this is Batman. And you're like, what the what? He was, Sir Friendzone from Game of Thrones? They had him as Batman on Titans. Hey, Eric says, thoughts on Mark Hamill not wanting to play Joker anymore because of Kevin Conroy passing away. I think that's fair. Also, I think Mark Hamill's a little bit overdone as the Joker. I mean, I think they've done too many bad things where I'm like, I'm not, no longer are you like, it's going to be good if Mark Hamill's doing it. You're like, it could still be bad. SMR Gooses is, so I'm opening it up to questions now about this. SMR Gooses is James Gunn handling the comics division too. I don't believe so, but I would think that he would have some insight there because he's trying to create a single universe where the comics are, part of that. So I'm sure that he could call up DC leadership, particularly because DC leadership isn't very strong right now in the comic book space, and say, I'd like you to do this. And they'd be like, okay, can we come to the premiere? And he'd be like, all right. And then we'd be like, this is horrible. Let's see here. I Don't Care Bear says, remember when comics were allowed to just be good comics, but now have to uphold a whole movie industry? Well, also, the comic book industry is not at all professional in the way people are hired. Everybody hires their friends. It's like what James Gunn's doing in DC. Instead of people officially applying for jobs and stuff. And I think you can see that kind of reflected these days in the lack of direction. Also, you're missing legendary talent. Back in the day, when Karen Berger ran Vertigo Comics and Paul Levitz ran DC Comics, it was the best time to be a comic book reader. It was an amazing time to be alive. And they have not been able to replace that talent in the editorial staff whatsoever. And so we're just stuck with crap. Toby says Teen Titans would be a great counter-programming to Young Avengers. But, again, Marvel beat them to it. It's like DC's always playing catch-up, and it's very frustrating because they actually were first most of the time in the comics. All right. So that is the first story. Thank you, Ollie. Ollie says, comics usually revert to status quo. It sounds like you think this is going to last for a long while. It's a new thing they are trying. There are plenty of great comics. The problem is finding them. Yes, that's true, Allie, but recent great comics, or do you have to go back and read old comics to enjoy them? And that's the thing. If they're going to keep going back to the status quo, what the heck did we even do this for? How many times are they going to reboot DC Comics at this point? They're like, oh, new story. Oh, we're redoing DC. Oh, that didn't turn out. We're redoing it again. I mean, it was fine. The New 52 was a horrible idea, and it broke DC. DC was doing really fantastic. It used to be a great time to read comics. I think the industry having them succeed so wildly as movies kind of ruined the comic books themselves, but whatever. Irony says, thank you for mentioning Jon Stewart. DC slipped on the brilliant idea to create a Justice League that a lot of people love. Agreed! It should have been based on the animated series. That's what everybody... Let me get rid of one of these images. Yeah, okay, I agree. Totally agree. Eric says, I love Matt and Robert, but if they're not going to be team players, they should quit. You're talking, obviously, about Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. Agreed. No more shattered DC universe. I'd be like, what's it going to take for you guys to come over? Do you want skin in the game? You want to be part of the leadership here? Fine. Hey, William Film, thanks for joining. Red says, I also would love Jensen Ackles. Should have been Batman on Titans. But he's too young. He looks the same as Brenton Thwaites. Trisha Monger says, Discovery buying Warner Brothers was the worst decision. It's bad every time. AT&T was a bad idea. Discovery was a bad idea. who knows what's going to happen if NBC Universal. Did you see NBC Universal was in the trades today saying like we like to pick stuff up and like you know in those like movies where like something like a big swarm and it becomes this bigger behemoth, they just suck up other companies and they stick to the outside of them and then they're like, ha 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 ha. Well, that's what NBC Universal wants to do, and they're like, we're looking at you, Warner Brothers. Shashank Dwivendi says they should try a crime syndicate movie. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see here. And then Whelm says, here's the real question. Why is Jeff Johns still employed there? That is a really good question. I think because his name still sells comics. I think, he still can sell a comic as a writer. And so, as long as they can make a buck off of you, that's the sad rule that, there's no, I guess everybody just doesn't believe it until they lose their own job. And then they go, I should have believed it. Eric says, when you join DC, you should always be open to play in a bigger universe. I agree. They continue to be talent-driven, which is weird because they have a really bad relationship with most talent these days over at Warner Brothers, which we're going to discuss in the third story because it's hilarious. But all right, let's... thank you, Jay. It's always so nice to see you. Jay is a big Disney fan like myself, and that was an incredibly generous thing to do. Thank you, Jay. That was very kind. Heather says, Warner Brothers Discovery goes from one John's bed to the next. That's Heather. Okay. You painted quite a picture there. And yes, that is a Mad Men quote. I do love me some Mad Men. That was great stuff. Milestone is coming back, Mika. I believe they're doing a Cyborg comic, actually. I hope it's good. All right, let's go to the next story of the day. Hold on. All right, story number 2. Boop. 1 second there. Let me get rid of the first story. Midnight Eye says Batman Who Laughs started great. But yeah, the 3 Jokers, what the heck was that? What a annoying waste of time. All right, so we're talking about the next story, and that is Kang tracking. Woohoo! Quantumania is on the board, baby. So a couple of weeks out, they start to do tracking. Just decide how much they think a movie is going to make when it opens in theaters. They have a lot of insider information. They're polling people. I've seen some of these. They will ask people stuff like, how likely are you going to see this movie in theaters? And they have a couple of different choices. They're like, do you want to see it? Like, are you definitely going to see it? Are you considering seeing it? And all these things go in. And they decided the number they came up with right off the bat. I mean, we'll see. Other factors could change how people feel about the movie. But right now, they're thinking it's going to open at 120. Now, let's put that in perspective. You ready? All right, so $120 million, that will be for President's Day weekend, which is after Valentine's Day this year. Valentine's Day usually doubles up with President's Day weekend for a juggernaut. But this year, President's Day weekend starts on February 17th. So Valentine's Day is on a frickin' Tuesday. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, all right, so that's pretty good. Ant-Man has consistently gotten bigger openings. The first Ant-Man, they've typically opened in July. This is the first time they've gone to February. The first Ant-Man opened mid-July to $57 million. The second Ant-Man opened for right after 4th of July, on July 6th, in 2018, right before the pandemic, for $75 million, 75. And so this is an increase. This is almost, this is a significant increase. And it would have to be the Kang factor. It'd have to be all Mr. Jonathan Majors. Who, by the way, I'm very interested in this magazine Dreams movie that he's in. I think I mentioned it the other day, where he plays an incel bodybuilder. And it's like kind of like the Joker, but with a bodybuilder, and he's having real problems. And I read about the movie, and I was like, that sounds pretty good. Although apparently he's mumbling again. I'm like, dude, you got to stop mumbling. I want to be able to hear what you're saying. We're going to talk about Creed 3, Mika, because it's interesting. All right, but let me give you some other perspective. Hold on, I've got more visuals for you. Look at that. Oh, yeah, baby. Let me get rid of that red square. All right, there's the most recent box office for the MCU. The first column is the budget. The second column is the opening. The third column is the domestic. And then the fourth column is the worldwide number. Okay? So then you can kind of get a look at how these movies are doing. So 120 is actually pretty low for an opening for Marvel these days, not considering the time they had the pandemic. Black Panther Wakanda Forever opened at 181. Thor Love and Thunder opened at 144. And Multiverse of Madness, which I only today realized spells mom in the abbreviation, like Wanda. I was like, whoa, that's hilarious. I love it. They should have made a bigger deal about that. Also, someone online mentioned that Quantumania has Ant-Man in the word. And I'm like, that's pretty clever. I think they should make a bigger deal about this. Some writer somewhere is like, I worked so hard on that, and no one's saying anything. So I'll say it. Quantumania has Ant-Man in there, and then also Multiverse of Madness abbreviation is MOM. All right, so MOM opened at 187. 187. Danny, I can't filter these results. This is a screen grab. I can't filter that. All right, so anyway. But when you go back before the pandemic and before Avengers, the openings were a little bit lower. Like Captain Marvel opened at 153, Thor Ragnarok at 122. Coming off of 2 very weak Thor movies, by the way, interestingly enough. So maybe Ant-Man will blow up. I think it's going to be really crucial what the reviews are. The review embargo lifts on Valentine's Day. As I told you, Valentine's Day is a Tuesday, and that's when the review embargo will lift. The social media embargo lifts on February 6th. So in the evening. So, hey, Sky Magnanimous. That's a great name. So we'll see. We'll see what the reviews are. I think the reviews are going to be quite important. Oh, that's a good idea. We'll do a poll. HC Tube 3. That's a good poll idea. Hold on. Let me put it in there. Start a poll. Why are you seeing Quantumania? Okay, the first one will be MCU fan. Second will be King. Third will be like, I like Ant-Man for some reason. I'll put that in there. And then I'm not seeing it. All right, there you go. You can vote in that while we discuss. Okay, that's right. Oh, ninth, Johnny, your first ever poll. Woohoo! With great power comes great responsibility. All right, so while you guys vote, let's talk a little bit about the other movies that will be coming out right after Quantumania. Because sure, it might do well when it opens, but it's also got to get a lot of money as it goes along. So what's the competition? Well, just 1 week later, Cocaine Bear shall come out. Sorry, Mika, I didn't put MODOK as an option. That's funny, though. I guess that goes under MCU fan. So just 1 week later, Cocaine Bear from Universal opens up, which I think is interesting because that's a little bit of a similar play to Megan going up against Avatar. So Universal, they're getting a pretty predictable playbook, but it's a successful one, so who cares? Then Creed 3 kicks off March, also with Jonathan Majors. That's less than a month later. That to me is a little weird. Let's see how many weekends that is. If I were Disney, I'd be like, MGM, you're freaking killing me. And MGM would be like, I'm riding those Quantumania coattails, baby. I'm them. So let's see here. So Quantumania comes out the 17th, and then Creed 3 comes out just 2 weeks later with Kang versus Killmonger. And I'd be like, I wouldn't be happy about that. So I think that's a little bit weird. But I think Creed 3, by the way, looks quite good. And then March is like nuts. But I think it's like March is like meh, but like a lot of meh. It's like a cloud of meh. You got Scream 6, Shazam 2, 65. That's the Adam Driver's fighting dinosaurs movie. John Wick 4, which I'm so excited about, but remember, that actually doesn't have a lot of great box office, even though it's a fantastic franchise. And then the Dungeons & Dragons movie, which I think looks excellent, but nobody seems to care about. So I think Quantumania is going to run into a wall of meh, and Jonathan Majors pulling double duty. So that's really just it used to be that movies would have so much space, too much space to breathe. We were like, somebody else get in here. And now somebody is. So I'm very curious to see how Quantumania does. Again, it's going to be real crucial on those reviews, and also if the movie is something people want to watch multiple times. Like for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think it was a really beautiful, epic film. So that's why you wanted to watch it multiple times. I don't know how these movies keep making so much money. Everybody complains about them, but yet they go and see them. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder still made a little under 800 million. Again, I feel as long as you hit 800 million these days, you're a good Marvel movie. If you can't hit 800 million, you got a problem. And then Multiverse of Madness, everybody kept watching for Wanda. So, yeah. So, and then, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. That's obvious why everybody kept watching that one. And then there were a bunch of nuts. I loved Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi to me was the best Marvel movie that came out during the pandemic. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Let's see what your poll is. Let's see here. Paul says, I'm concerned about Ant-Man being too corny. And then Stephen Carrier says, is it true Kang is only on screen for 15 to 20 minutes? I haven't seen the movie yet, but they just did a lot of reshoots, and I think they added more Kang. They were like, needs more Kang. Like Cowbell, they were like, needs more Kang. All right, so let's see let me end the poll. All right, look at the MCU. That's the beauty of the MCU. 40% of you are like, I'm an MCU fan. I see everything. That's impressive. And I think that also goes for the Kang people. Kang, 26%, because, they are introducing the next big bad for the Marvel movies and shows for the next couple of movies. I mean, this is important. Then 19% of you are saying, I'm not seeing it, whereas 12% of you are just Ant-Man fans. That's great. But, only 81% of you are seeing it. That's excellent. That's excellent. No wonder they think it's going to open at 120. That's excellent. Very, very good. All right, so that is the second story of the day. Hold on. Let's go to the third story. I've got some visuals here, too. Eric says he's going to stream it. Stream it. I don't know. Maybe it's Kang. You might want to see it on the big screen. It's supposed to have some good visuals. I hope it does. David, you watched Black Panther 10 times? That's phenomenal. That's great. I'm really actually looking forward to watching it on Wednesday with you guys. It helps that there's no big series on right now except for The Last of Us on Sundays. So we can do a watch along like that again. And also, I only saw it once. So I'm ready to watch it again. I'm ready to re-experience it. I'm excited. All right, third story of the day. Hold on. Boom, baby. Baz Luhrmann just signed a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. A first look deal. He's reminding me of Ryan Murphy in that picture, by the way. I don't know what's going on with Baz Luhrmann there. He's so good at dressing his actors and his sets with his I think it's his wife. I don't know why he looks so bad on his own red carpet. But anyway, he just reminded me of Ryan Murphy there for some reason. Silver-haired foxes making lots of content. But Ryan Murphy's far more prolific than Baz Luhrmann, as you'll see in just a moment. So Baz Luhrmann got a first look deal. Just again, what's a first look deal? Just to remind you, first look deal is where the studio has the right of first refusal for any idea that you come up with. If you come up with an idea, you have to come to Warner Brothers Discovery and say, do you want to make this? And they either say, yes, we do, or they say pass, and then you can shop it around somewhere else. Now, in exchange for that, they pay for all of Baz Luhrmann's expenses to run an office, which means he gets to hire a couple of employees to run the office, a development executive. We'll talk about that, Zach Abbey, in a moment. That's a good question about how can they afford that, because they ain't got no money over there. I'll tell you the short answer. Baz is cheap. And then Whelm says AM2 is, that's the old story, Whelm. You got to stick to the current story. So first look deal, and so they not only pay for your office expenses, but they give you a little bit of money to go and buy stuff. So if Baz Luhrmann says, I want to make this book into a movie, Warner Brothers Discovery gives them the money to go get the rights to the book. So they give you a little bit of money to play with. A little bit of money to play with. They're like, here you go to town, Baz. Is Baz Luhrmann LGBT? Okay. Then my Ryan Murphy comparison is even more on point. Let's see here. All right, so let's look at his movies. So I was like, yeah, I didn't think he was LGBT. He's not, right? Let's settle this. I'm pretty sure he's married to the woman he works with. Let me look it up. Yeah, he's married to Catherine Martin and has 2 children. Look, maybe he's fluid. I don't know. I mean, I can see why you would say that based on that photo of him, but he is he's straight, or as Juan said, he could be bi. He's certainly an ally of Anderson Valley for sure. All right, so let's get back to the business conversation. Whatever Baz does in his own personal life is his own business. All right, so let's look at his movies. So I was like, what movies has he made? He used to have a deal with Fox. You can see that's where he made his earlier films. Of course, his breakout film was Strictly Ballroom. He's not that prolific. Since for the last 30 years, he's only made 6 movies. That's not very much. That's funny, Alberto. We're not going to do a poll on Baz Luhrmann's sexuality. It wouldn't matter. Only Baz Luhrmann could only he could vote. Vote of 1. So he made these movies, and I gotta tell you, I think all of these are pretty good except Australia. Now, he claims Australia was great if you made it into a series, and I think he actually is recutting it into a limited series, but ain't nobody gonna try that again. It was so bad the way it was. You're like, you're not fooling me again, Baz. But I thought all those other movies were actually pretty darn good. I love The Great Gatsby, which of course was for Warner Brothers, which was also for Warner Brothers. I loved it. I thought that was a fantastic movie. I've never watched it again, but I still liked it. It was good. It was a lot of flowers everywhere. I thought that was cool. So I was like, okay, these movies are not bad. These movies are not bad. Then I was like, okay, hold on. What's this guy's box office look like? Here we go. There it is. All right, so there's his box office. And I got to tell you, it's not that great either. Elvis only made $281 worldwide. The Great Gatsby, $353. Australia, $215. Mostly overseas. Moulin Rouge, $179, but that was like in a long time ago. Romeo and Juliet, $147. That's actually very good for when that movie was made. But then I was like, well, why would they want to do a deal with his box office only being okay? Well, first off, Elvis has done quite well on digital. It's done very well on digital and HBO Max. So these movies have a long shelf life. Then also, awards. Elvis has gotten a ton of awards nominations. So I think they feel, that's great. We have somebody in-house who gets lots of awards because that's very important for a studio. And then I also feel he's very good at discovering talent. I think that's worth noting. He has a very good eye for talent and blowing talent up. He, of course, Austin Butler, who Warner Brothers has now been able to use in Dune. I wonder if he'll sound like Elvis in Dune. That will be hilarious if he does. I think in Moulin Rouge, he really plussed the careers of both Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor. Of course, they've been working before that, but that was big. That was very big for both of them. It helped put them on the mainstream map. And then, of course, he discovered Leonardo DiCaprio, made him a star, a teen heartthrob with Romeo and Juliet before Titanic, I believe that was. So he has good talent. You're right, Dancing Dog 60. That's great, right? Dancing Dog 60 pointed out that he discovered Yahya Abdul-Mateen II when he did The Get Down for Netflix as a series. Also, Justice Smith, the star of that. Eric says, I would hire Baz Luhrmann for an Ivy and Harley movie. My God, Eric, that's a brilliant idea. Holy crap. I think that's the best idea I've heard in a long time. Hey, Callum Abraham. I think that's such a good idea. You have blown my mind, as well as other people watching, because that's just such a good idea. I think he would do a phenomenal job with those characters. It would be great, and it would just be the explosion of craziness that you would want from them. That's a really, really strong idea. That's right. Snaps for Eric. Snaps for Eric. Or Gotham City Sirens overall. But like a Harley and Ivy romance by Baz Luhrmann. I mean, it's a match made in heaven. I can't even think of a better choice. I can't think of a better choice. It's insane. Let's see if it happens. He has a deal. Be like, come on, James Gunn. James Gunn's like, oh, I'm directing that one too. All right, let's see. If that actually happens, it's going to be hilarious, but then also not so good for DC. All right. So, but I also think what's very interesting, let me get rid of this thing about his box office, okay? It's interesting that Warner Brothers is trying to build back up their talent relationships. Talent used to be the name of the game over there. Jeff Robinov in particular built incredible talent relationships for Warner Brothers. It was what defined the studio. That and that they spent a lot of money to do travel and stuff. Like Warner Brothers treated everybody right. Their executives, their talent, they were willing to splurge. But now, of course, Warner Brothers Discovery ain't got no money. But Baz Luhrmann is very cheap. Elvis only cost $85 million to make. I mean, I'd be like, Baz baby, I love you. Come on over here. Sit next to me. That's so cheap. I love it. And it looked great. It looked great for $85 million. So I'm like, excellent. Except for that part in the middle where they filmed it in a trailer park and all these screens. And you were like, can't you build a real set? And Baz Luhrmann's like, it was COVID. Leave me alone. All right, so It's just interesting that they went from having a reputation for the best relationship with talent in the business to now having such big arguments with talent that Christopher Nolan ran away from them and now has beef with them. Now he's over at Universal. And then also there's gossip wars in the trades with talent, with both sides sowing dissenting stories and trying to make the other one look bad. And you're like, what happened over here? That's weird. So we'll see if they can rebuild. I just want a Baz Luhrmann, Harley and Ivy film. I mean, it's done. Put a bow on it. Let's get it greenlit. Let's fast track that. All the lingo, right? I mean, I'm just so enamored. I think that's just the best idea I've heard in a very long time. Eric, you should be a development executive. So that's what executives are supposed to do, by the way. Executives are supposed to have great brainstorms like that and go, that's funny, Mika, Zaz and Baz, or Baz and Zaz. I like that. That's funny. It was weird when Jason Momoa called him David the other day. You're like, David? Who the heck? Are you talking about Zazzy? Why are you talking to Zazzy? That was weird. They're going to be surprised, I think, at how unsuccessful Lobo is, unless he's in some other movie. And then I still don't think general audiences are going to like it. They're going to be like, why is Jason Momoa a geisha? That's basically what the general public is going to say. And what happened to Aquaman? Why is he all pasty? Because he basically played Lobo as Aquaman. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm really curious to see what this slate looks like. That's right, Denzel. They'll be like, oh, it's our Deadpool. And you'll be like, no, it's not. Harley's Deadpool. And I don't even like Harley being a ripoff of Deadpool. Did you see that, by the way? Harley Quinn destroys the multiverse. I was like, that is such a ripoff of Deadpool kills the multiverse or the Marvel Universe. I was so upset about it. I was like, that's such an obvious hack ripoff. I really hated it. Max just cast the Harley Quinn and Ivy movie. That's great casting. That's extremely good casting. I love that casting. This movie, we've made the movie. All they have to do is give it a budget, and Baz doesn't need that much, and give it to us. Nom, 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 nom. Anya Taylor-Joy playing Harley Quinn. Ana de Armas is Poison Ivy. Thank you for remembering it. That's who I suggested for the role. And then Baz Luhrmann, you're right, Juan. They're both Latinas, and Brazil loves DC. So I get the Brazil people on the team, right? Brazil will be like, we love it. I have Baz Luhrmann direct it, and it's just the best thing that ever happened. I'm so frustrated because it's never going to happen. Trisha says, when are changes Disney going to happen? I miss the old Disney. I don't know if it's ever coming back, Trisha. And if it is, it's going to be a while. I think they have to first fail spectacularly before they have to burn it to the ground before they can rebuild. Mika says, who's writing though? The writers on the series. Although you have to be like, you guys, you got to do like just an R rating. You can't go as far as you're going on the show. But I would go get the writers from the animated series. That's who I'd have do it. I'd be like, upgrade, you're getting to write a movie. Pretty exciting. Roberto says, do you think that Disney will do something with Anastasia, animated or live action, with 20th Century? It's hard to do that because that was about a real life person who was murdered. And so I think it's hard to do, it's like Pocahontas. You can't really do it. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Those are the 3 stories of the day. It is 5:03. Well, we're doing pretty good on the time here. You can ask me anything you like until 5:14ish, and then I'll do shout outs. Then I must leave you. I must go for the day. Elliot says Lance Reddick from John Wick is playing Zeus from the Percy Jackson series, and I'm so excited for the series as a fan. That's great, Elliot. I'm very curious to see how it does. I do have some concern that Percy Jackson's just going to play really like, what's that show that Tony Hale did? I think it's going to skew too young. I think you're going to have a hard time getting adults to watch that. Hey, Ryan K. We're going to go over some 2022 things on Movie Math on Sunday. But, Disney Plus is not doing well in the series division at all. Brendan V says, Zach Krieger is doing his new movie at New Line, also starting my first. Oh, that's great. Yes, Brendan, and congrats. Brendan told us he had a job interview. He got the job. He's now working at AMC Theaters. I'm so excited for you. That's going to be so much fun. And yes, Zach Krieger of Barbarian got a very sweet deal over at New Line because, Warner Brothers has a very good horror division, and Zach Krieger has joined it. Oh, thank you. Oh, Bachina, I'm glad you liked my Superman casting. I can't take credit for that one. That's one of you suggested that, and it was a great idea. I can't unsee it now that I've seen it. Lord Baratheon says, where'd it go? Next billion-dollar movie for Marvel? I'm not sure. Maybe next Avengers. Let's see here. I'll watch this. Titans was horrible. Doom Patrol okay, but the writers have said they'll give the show a good send-off, so not mad. But I do hope Connor Leslie, April Bowlby. I love April Bowlby. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. And Anna Job get more work. Great actresses. Yeah, that would be great, but I think that show's going to hurt them, to be honest. I think it'll be very hard for all three of them to move into film. So they better go get some TV shows. Kate says, did you see Succession Season 4 trailer? I sure did. I love Succession. Succession isn't really a show that I can cover because it doesn't have that kind of an audience, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I just love that show so much. It does very well on Twitter as well. Let's see here. Elias says, have you been reading Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons? It appears to be amazing. I read the first issue and then I was like, it's just too hard. It's too hard to get into. Eric says, if I ever become an executive, I would hire you as a partner. Thanks, Eric. We'll run DC together. By the way, Troy Baker of The Last of Us should be the new voice of Joker. Yeah, he does a pretty good job. He's done it in a couple of games. Zanny Spam says, is there any hope for Everything Everywhere All at Once going back to IMAX? I just heard it was going back to regular screens, but me and my friends really want to see it in IMAX. I think unlikely. I think there's too many other movies that want those screens. They're too valuable, I'm afraid. Max said, Ludwig Göransson is the composer for the movie. Are you talking about Harley and Ivy? The Harley and Ivy movie? I don't know. He works a lot at Disney. Let's see here. Derek says, Grace, I just finished Tar, so you don't have to. Easily one of the worst performances of Blanchett and one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Derek, that's funny. You're the second person to write me and say that I was right not to watch Tar. I told you guys. I mean, some of people like it, and that's fine, with all due respect to them. But you have to be the kind of person who really likes like that kind of a movie. And you know exactly what kind of movie it is. Tar is not for mainstream or even, mainstream willing to experiment audiences. You got to be hardcore. I like the weird stuff to watch that. Devin says, any Marvel tea you're up to spilling? I told you this earlier today that they're going to have a Guardians of the Galaxy spot for the Super Bowl, it looks like. So that's good. I also heard that Adam Warlock defeats the Guardians pretty early in the movie. So it's going to be to look for that big action sequence. But then, of course, I'm sure they rally. But it should be good. William says, nervous about Ursula. Do you think she'll look scary? I want to know if she looks campy. And she has to be careful not to look like a fake drag queen, though, because drag queens will come for her. So she has to be very careful. But I just want her to be able to, do the wonderful showmanship of the animation for the character. Manpreet says, have you heard anything about the live-action Hercules? I think we scared the live-action Hercules when we said it was stupid. Remember they said they wanted to do a TikTok movie? And the internet was like, that makes me want to throw up. And I think they were like, maybe we don't know what we're doing. And the Russo brothers like, we can't take any more flops, man. We can't take it. Let's go focus on action movies over at Netflix. Ryan says, happy Thursday. Wondering if you've seen Marcel the Shell. I was rooting for Puss in Boots until I saw it. It would be great for Movie Club. Maybe, Ryan. Maybe. I've been interested in watching that, and Movie Club might just be the way to do it. Whelm says, Grace, did you ever work in a movie theater? I have not. I was an elf at Macy's, though. That was a job that I had, and I actually quite enjoyed it until I didn't. Carter James says, hi, Grace. Can you say hi to my dog, Pumpkin? She's crossing the Rainbow Bridge next week. Does that mean what I think it means? That seems very sad. She would always sit with me when I watched your video. Oh, my goodness. Pumpkin. Oh, my God. Pumpkin. Whoa, Pumpkin. I'm so glad you were such a good friend to Carter. Safe journeys, man. Okay. Woo! Okay, Sky the Magnanimous says, Baz Luhrmann's Gotham City Sirens, written by Greta Gerwig. I don't know. Let's see Barbie. Let's see how Barbie turns out. Let's see here. Eric, I missed your super chat. Let me go find it. Where'd it go? I don't see it, Eric. With the C, just the C. Where'd it go, Eric? The super chat is. Oh, there it is. No fan casting. Yes, fan cast. I don't know. I like not my fan casting. Thank you. My fan casting is excellent. Said every fan ever. Hilarious. All right. Mr. F says, thoughts on the return of MoviePass? Are movie theaters finally desperate enough to cut a deal? I don't think so, because they all have their own MoviePasses already. So, like, I'm an AMC A-list member, and I was a Regal Unlimited member too, but I don't really go to Regal as much anymore. Also, it looks like Regal's going to get sold, potentially to AMC. So, I'm not sure how that doesn't become a monopoly, but that's up to the government. My Do says, any buzz as to how much Nev asked for Scream 6? I like the theory that she's in Scream 6. I haven't heard that, but that would be hilarious. If that was all just a troll to make people feel that she wasn't in Scream 6. I mean, the secret would be given away almost immediately, but it would be awesome. I kind of like it. It's so campy and funny and so perfect for that franchise that I'm kind of hoping that's true. Hank, I fan casted Albie from the White Lotus as Superman. Let's see here. Hold on. I'm trying to catch up to the comments. Wow. Oh, thank you. You guys are so great. Let's see here. Antonio says, if those are new glasses, they're not new glasses. They have the coating is coming off. I have to get them fixed, and then I'll be forced to wear the new glasses. But these are not. But thank you. Thank you very much for the compliment, Antonio. I was outside running an errand today, and the guy who was working at the register was like, I like your glasses, because he had the same ones. And I was like, looking snazzy, buddy. Eric says, watched Velma and hated it. I tried to be like Harley Quinn, but failed to understand why it succeeded. I tried to like it, but couldn't. I think that's what everybody said about Velma. Vic says, have you seen Till? It should be shown in schools. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it. I think it seems like a really beautiful but very tragic film. But I do agree it should be shown in schools. I think for sure I would definitely sign off on that. Stephen Carrier says, any new updates on the blowback to Andrea's Oscar nomination? I think nobody wants to I think one theory I saw floated around is that, a lot of the people who supported her are also represented by CAA. I saw one of the a website put that theory out, but Viola Davis is also represented by CAA. I think that there are so many people involved in what happened that nobody really wants to call it out. It's a little like how the Harvey Weinstein She Said movie couldn't get nominated for anything because people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. So it might get swept under the rug. I'll be curious to see how it develops. I think it ruined Andrea Riseborough's career, but we'll see. Max Beck says, you should look up Eureka O'Hara. She would have been perfect as Ursula. I shall. Dev Deneo says, glad to see you live, Grace. I'm always studying. Have you seen Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid trailer? Asteroids rise up. Honest opinion. Oh, for Ari Aster. Is that Asteroids? Is that what Ari Aster fans are called? I told you I really hated Hereditary, and we got into a big fight over it. I really liked Midsommar. I thought Midsommar was good. And I think this trailer looks incredible. Although I was talking to another friend of mine in the industry, and they pointed out that Ari Aster just has no interest in making commercially viable films. So we'll see if he changes his mind. But it looked good to me. I thought it looked very good. I like Nathan Lane being in it. I was like, this looks great. Mike Drop says, wife saw me watching your Megan review and pointed out that you look like her, and now I can't unsee it. Tell your wife that's a very kind thing to say. Thank you. And that's nice. I hope you and your wife enjoyed Megan. Blazing 10 says, hey Grace, what do you think of this theory? I did wear a shirt I tried to wear a Megan-esque shirt for that review and style my hair that way. So I was putting out the subliminal message. I try and sometimes theme my shirts to my videos if I can. Let's see here. Blazing 10 says, hey Grace, what do you think of this theory? Guardians 3 trailer for the Super Bowl and the Marvels trailer for Women's History Month in March. Also, I think a Marvels trailer could come out with Quantumania. So I think that's very possible. Let's see here. Danny says, are you ready to cry again with The Last of Us Episode 3 trailer? I cried. I watched it again yesterday to do my notes. I did 9 pages of notes for that. I'm going to film my review tomorrow morning, my breakdown. And I cried again. I didn't cry quite as much, but I cried again when I watched it. It was so sad. It's so sad. Let's see here. You guys I'm finally getting to catching up to where you were. It's so kind of you also to give your best wishes to Pumpkin. Hey, Kevin Morris, thanks for upgrading. Space Soda, that's a funny name, says the actress that's playing Ursula was a divine impersonator, so I think it will be good. Melissa McCarthy was a divine impersonator? Are you sure? I know that she said she was a babysitter starting out. She used to listen to The Little Mermaid all the time because all of the kids she was babysitting had it on like a constant replay. And so she really loves the movie, and I was like, I feel good about that, Melissa. Matthew says, Grace, please get us news on Wanda. Use your powers. I'm trying. I told you that they'll, I think, at least hint with Wanda at Agatha, which is filming right now. Trisha says that guy from White Lotus would be a good Superman. Thank you. I agree. Hey, Amy. Always so nice to see you. Amy, I hope you're doing well with your sobriety. Very moving moment when Amy shared one of her milestones with us, I think right before the holidays. Amy says, did you ever watch Kevin Can F Himself on AMC? Reminds me of WandaVision. So good, but no one watched it. You know, Amy, I didn't watch it, but my parents watched it, and they loved that. So maybe I've been looking for stuff to watch. Maybe I'll go back and take a look at it. I like that actress. All right, let me catch up here. Let me hop up. Where are we? Black Widow, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. The Dark Savior says, when it comes to casting in historical films these days, should historical accuracy be ignored for the sake of diversity within the cast? It depends on the severity of the project. If it's a serious thing, trying to genuinely recreate the event that's being depicted, of course I think it should be accurate in the casting. But if you're doing something like Beauty and the Beast, you know, the live action version, well, then I think you want to make sure people feel included. A Little Place of Wonder says, hey, Grace, just wanted to say I really appreciate all your coverage, commentary, and analysis. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Love to you in Bulgaria. I'm sending you love right back. That little sparkle heart looks great. Ree says, can we talk about this Quake thing? I just heard she's coming back. I don't know in what she's coming back in, but I still think it's a bad idea. I don't want the MCU to become too fanny. You know, like that just seems like a fan fulfillment thing to me. I think it doesn't work. But maybe she'll like run by in the background in Secret Wars. We'll see. I hope that's the extent of it. She was calling people out on Twitter, though. I mean, I can see why. That was a mean comment. Amar Ahmed says, thank you for all your hard work. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, Amar. Rob Hold, thanks for joining. Zed says, did you watch the new 65 trailer? Is there a new one? I missed it. I have been doing family stuff this week, so I've not been as tuned in as I like to usually be. I saw the first 65 trailer. I reacted to it. I didn't think it had enough dinosaurs, but it was just a teaser. Felsi Jr. says, if Gunn fails with DC, do you see Warner Brothers selling the property off? No, I see Warner Brothers as a whole being sold off and being rebooted yet again. Thank you, Devin. Says, speaking of Hercules, do you see him returning to the MCU? I don't, actually, which is sucky. Although, you'll be seeing Brett Goldstein very soon somewhere else. That's all I'll say. John Kamara says, hey, Grace, have you seen the Flash promo leaks? No, but, you know, I got to tell you, the studios really don't like it when you cover leaks because they don't want you to call attention, like visual leaks. Scoops, it's a fine line. But, you know, that's why I think you see, not too much attention paid to them sometimes. But you can enjoy them. You can eat them up with a spoon. Stephen Bria says, I would cast you as Glinda the Sorceress of The Wizard of Oz. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. I hope she doesn't have to sing, though. I cannot sing. Boab, thank you. You are amazing. Look at that. That's great. Look at that guy. He's dancing up a storm. I love it. All right, so don't do any more super chats. I'm going to catch up, and then I'm going to get to shout-outs, because then I got to get going. Ty, thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you very much. Maruna, always so nice to hear from you. I also match my outfits at the movies when going to the cinema or to the quiz theme, and I certainly noticed you do it too. Thanks, Maruna. I'm glad we saw each other. I'm glad you noticed it. Makes me feel very nice, especially because it's so important to you as well. Eric says, just want to say it's amazing to see a lot of Latino representation. The Last of Us, The Mandalorian, and Andor makes me really excited for the future. That's great. Isn't that nice? 2 of those are Pedro Pascal, by the way. But I think it's really nice, too. I mean, because you guys had to wait a really long time. So it's nice to see the Latino and the Asian communities getting not just representation, but really quality representation. Pedro Pascal is so good this week. I was like, what a man. All right, let's see here. Doug Cowell says, Grace, are you watching The Legend of Vox Machina? You know, I don't want to get too D&D'd out. I'm not a big D&D fan, and I'm looking forward to Dungeons & Dragons. Chris Pine is one of my dad's favorite actors, and that movie happens to come out right around his birthday. So I'm like, Dad, Hollywood loves you. Look what they're giving you as a birthday gift. And he's like, I can't wait. So we're going to go and see that, and I don't want to be Dungeons & Dragoned out before I see it. Will Trompa, thank you, Will, says, Grace, how do you feel about Pedro supporting Andrea? I think Pedro Pascal is a really well-meaning person, and I think maybe he doesn't know totally what's going on there, would be my guess, you know? All I know is Pedro Pascal didn't start it. My real problem is with the people who started it. It's getting so big that it's kind of hard to be upset with everybody who's a part of it, but I'm a little upset with them. Will Eckhoff says, sorry if I'm off topic, but I just wanted to thank you. I'm in the hospital on a ton of morphine, but it's so nice to fall asleep to your video. Will, my goodness, I hope that you're still awake to see me see your comment. First of all, I hope you're okay. Second of all, I'm glad they're taking care of you. And third of all, sweet dreams. That's such a nice comment. You paint quite the picture, Will, even under morphine. Maybe it made you more poetic, but that was really an interesting comment. Oh, I hope you saw it. I hope you saw that I saw your comment. GP says, movie club for Hereditary. No way, I'm not watching that again. So bad. Oh, I was angry when that movie ended. Not to say it didn't have interesting moments, but I had a real problem with it. Who was that? Will, tell me that you saw that I said with you. Before you drift off to sleep, let me know that you saw that I saw your thing. Tribute of District 13 says, I've seen Avatar 2 4 times and have fallen in love. I think I'm going to be seeing it a third time. Will you keep us up to date on Avatar gossip? I might in the streams. I got to tell you, Avatar gossip ain't that, box office is hot, but as a story, it's like a movie, it's not that hot online. But that might change, maybe. I'll gauge it. I'll certainly be covering it in some capacity. Britt says, can we get Emma Frost origin show? Well, Generation X, really, I think. Black Widow says, thanks so much for teaching me a life lesson, for rejecting someone's opinion kindly with, I respect your decision. I hope you are not being sarcastic about that. But yeah, agree to disagree is always a really good way to say that too. You know, you're like, agree to disagree. Good luck to you, man. I don't want to fight with you. Why are you trying to fight with me? Brexit says, I'm going to pay attention to your themed shirts. Oh, please do. I work very hard on them. I have one all planned for The Last of Us. It's new. I got some new shirts the other day. Glalie Master says, don't forget about Ahsoka. That's right. Afro-Latinas. That's right. I'm so excited for Ahsoka. So freaking excited. I couldn't be more excited for that show. She's the best casting ever. Mook Mook says, hi, Grace. Have you watched the show Manifest? I'm afraid I don't watch that, but I'm glad that if you do, you're enjoying it. Darcy Keating says, welcome to... Welcome, Darcy. I'm just in the zone. I'm in the zone, man. Darcy. Isn't Darcy, is that your real name or is that the character from MCU? But welcome back. All right, let me do some shout-outs, everybody. Oh, yes, Will did see it. Yay, Will. Oh, yay, Will. Haha, I'm so happy. Okay, sweet dreams, Will. I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope the hospital, again, is taking good care of you. You let him know we're all watching. We're going to be like, you take care of Will. All right, Matt's coming at me from Michigan. Let me do a couple of shout-outs. Where are you? Sun Moon says, signed off at work, having a glass of wine since it's 5 p.m. in New York City where Grace is. That's right. That's right. Look at everybody saying sweet dreams to Will. You guys are the nicest. Evan Gustafsson says, first stream as a member after being gifted a membership. Confused because I wasn't even on a stream. But I got an email with my gifted membership. I think you have to opt in to say you'll accept gifts, and then I think you go on a wait list. You should Google how to accept gifts on YouTube, and you click kind of a button, and that's how it works, I believe. I'm going to start gifting memberships probably maybe once a week as soon as they will let me. It should be in the first quarter because I want to be generous like the rest of you guys are. Frosty Salt says, in Augusta, Georgia, getting ready for Infinity Pool. Oh, Frosty Salt, that's going to be freaky. I hope you have a good time. Owl Watch says, just getting home from Florida from work. Man, people have gotten really comfortable coughing without covering down there, but craving crab cakes and going to finish the original X-Men trilogy. Oh, X2? I've been thinking of rewatching X2. It's hard for me to rewatch old comic book movies, though, because I feel like I'm doing work whenever I watch them. I'm like, I should be paying super attention. What are all the Easter eggs? But I love me some X2. That's my favorite. That and X-Men Days of Future Past. You're going to have a great evening, Owl Watch. I'm sorry people are coughing on you. I guess you just have to keep your mask on. Florida. I love you, but I hate some of the politics of Florida, but I love Florida so much as a vacation destination. Ben Baker says, New Zealand says hi. Trisha is watching White Lotus. Jason Woods is at a coffee shop writing a script in Baton Rouge. Scene 1, coffee shop. Jason works furiously on his new script. I love it. Alexander Padilla says, watching from my college campus library in San Bernardino, California. Home of Apple, I believe, right? Let's see here. Victoria bought a new house. Congratulations. That's a pretty big deal, Victoria. Getting ready to move. Oh, that's so exciting. Lexi says it's 7:30 a.m. in Korea. Have to go back to bed. Lexi, the fact that you got up for this moves me so much. That means a lot to me. Jamie says a couple of beers after a busy day at work in the UK. That's awesome, Jamie. I like seeing your photo there. You look fun. Let's see here. Margot Dickinson. Where did that go? Where'd it go? Oh, Will said everybody rocks. That's so kind of you, Will. Where did that's such a great name, Margot Dickinson. There it is, Margot Dickinson. Sad I can't watch the watch along tomorrow, but we'll be hanging out with a good friend instead, so I'm happy. And Margot, the watch along will still be up. You can join in when you have a chance. I hope you and your friend have fun. I like your name a lot, Margot. That's a great name. Kate says, I'm playing The Last of Us Part 2 right now on the hardest mode. Been on one level for almost 3 hours. Good luck, Kate! Good luck. I hope you do well. That's funny. I love that. That's a great story, Kate. You know, I gotta tell you, I'm getting into The Last of Us. The more I cover it, and your guys' enthusiasm, it's winning me over. I'm kind of starting to like it. I'm like, you know what? This is pretty good. You just have to let go of the fact that it's not really about zombies. And then I think you actually will really like it. You have to be like, it's just a human drama. And then you're like, it's great. I'm having a great time. Denzel O'Neill says, I'm waiting for some chocolate chip cookies that I'm baking. Ooh, right out of the oven. That's going to be delish. Rashad says, just at work folding towels and sneaking in the live stream. Oh, yeah, we won't tell on you, Rashad. Damani says, in the Bronx eating fried rice that I made. Wow, that's impressive. But unfortunately, it's not that good. That's okay, Damani. You're going to try again. Just pay attention to what you think you got wrong and try it again. That would be an impressive thing to have up your sleeve, that you can cook fried rice. Thomas says, Grace just checking in here to wish you a great evening from Stockholm. Thanks, Tomas. It's always so great to see you. Starry says, hi, Grace. About to eat dinner and watch the entire stream. I missed it since I just joined. No worries. I'm glad I got to say hi to you. I think you're going to have a fun dinner. We had a good stream. This was a fun time. And then Max Beck says, I'm in my dorm trying to find great pics of Eureka to tweet to you. Oh, that's great. I'm excited. Jamie Johnson says, a couple of beer. Oh, I already read Jamie. That was great. Ben Svarog says, eating a burger for dinner in Hungary. Oh, that's funny. You're hungry and hungry. And then, let's see here. So we already got that one. Red and Slim agrees that X2 is one of the best. Katie Lady is also going to see Infinity Pool. You guys are going to get freaked out, man. There was an image on that on Fandango, and I was like, what am I looking at? Whew. Let's see here. Max Vem says, wow, we are almost at 35. Yes, we had a lot of people today. Greetings from Vienna, Austria. Just ate Korean chicken. Now have to continue studying after your live. Study break's over, Max. Good luck with your studies. I'll do a couple of more. Devin Pullins is making honey garlic chicken with veggies. Oh, that's very healthy of you, Devin. Good for you. Jerry Bailey just had an EKG and chest x-ray. Turns out I do have a heart. Oh, that's excellent. I took an EKG like about a week or so ago. I went to a City MD here in New York City, which was actually great. And it took just a few seconds to get the EKG. I was really happy about it. The germaphobe in me didn't have a great time. I was like, did you just touch my shoes and then touch me? What? But anyway, City MD is a great thing. I love. If you ever have a small problem, I highly recommend them. And Jerry, I'm really glad that you're good. We're EKG buddies. Jacob Herrera just made it. Got a couple of super chats, and then I gotta go. Then I gotta bail. I gotta bail. Oh my goodness, more super chats. Hold on. All right, hold on. Here they are. I'm finding them. Justin Atkins, thank you for joining. Nabby says, in a Zoom meeting. Listening to you at the same time. That's awesome, Nabby. Do what you gotta do. Let's see here. Max Beck says, enjoying watching the stream with my new glasses. Oh, that's great. You are? I already saw that, Max. Let's see here. And then Jerome says, just rushed back from fencing class to catch the stream. Wanted to say hi to you and everyone here. Jerome, that makes me so happy that was such a priority for you. That's so great. I'm glad we did get to say hi. And how cool is it that you're taking fencing class? I mean, that is pretty freaking awesome. Send me some pictures. Tweet me some pictures. If I don't see them, you could try DMing me. I'm pretty good at seeing my DMs. Darwin says, first live in a while, just wanted to say my parents go to see your video reviews before they watch a new movie or a show. Really? Say hi to your parents for me. I'm a big movie fan with my own parents, so the fact that you share your love of movies and that we're all talking about movies together makes me really happy. That's awesome. Your parents sound really cool. David Kyle says, missed most of the stream, can't watch for the Black Panther 2 watch-along. We're going to have a good time. Eric Cheng says, in my treadmill watching you in Panama. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Don't just stop. I did that once when I was little. I stopped on a treadmill and I got shot off the back of it. Thank goodness I was okay. David, I saw it in a movie somewhere where someone did that. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And it was bad. David says, hey, Grace, happy Friday evening. It's Thursday. Where are you? At a coffee shop in Cincinnati. You scared me because I got stuff to do on Friday that I didn't do today. At a coffee shop in Cincinnati, finishing Michelle Obama's new book. Oh, I love Michelle Obama. That's awesome. Glad I could catch you. I'm glad I caught you too. Philip says, Grace, you still have not checked my Halloween pics as The Witcher. Philip, you got to resend them to me. I must have missed them. That sounds cool. All right, everybody. I had a wonderful time talking to you. As always, you guys are the absolute best. I have fun with you all the time. We might do a stream tomorrow. We might not. But as for upcoming videos, of course, next week I'll be back to normal. This week is just crazy stuff going on. But next week, videos will be back to normal. And, of course, on Sunday is a big day with movie math. And then The Last of Us Episode 3. And when the watch-along, of course, tomorrow night. There's definitely a watch-along tomorrow night for Movie Club members at 7 p.m. Okay, bye. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, everybody. Toodles. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye, Mr. Real Shane. I like that pink hand. That's great. Okay, bye.